Donald Trump vowing to cut taxes and federal regulations for farmers across the country.
Do we have any farmers in the room? Do we have any? Stand up. I want to see what our farmers. Stand up. That's a lot of farmers. Family farms are the backbone of this country. Remember that. The thing that most surprised me is in going around all over the country and talking about that massive tax cut, and also for the middle class, but the massive small business and business tax cut, or the reduction by a lot of regulations, 100% of the people I talk to feel more strongly about the regulation.
That was the Republican nominee in Des Moines, Iowa over the weekend. It's welcome news to many, like our next guest, who was told by the feds to stop making ice cream, even though he runs a creamery, and had tens of thousands of dollars in his assets frozen. Well, joining me now, farmer and owner of South Mountain Creamery in Maryland, is Randy Showers. Randy, thanks for joining us this morning.
Good morning. How are you?
So if you would, you own a creamery. Your assets were frozen until very recently. Why did the government freeze your assets?
Well, the government didn't actually freeze my assets. About 5 years ago, they seized my assets for forfeiture. Or they said I was structuring my bank deposits, and they took my assets. But that really don't have anything to do with what's going on now with the Department of Labor. That's just a continuation of the government strong-arming people that fight against them, I think.
Well, what's happening with the Department of Labor now? What are the new and additional pieces of red tape you're facing?
Well, they came in the day before Christmas and pretty much said that I had a complaint from a disgruntled employee, so they did an investigation, but they thought we had done the right thing, or we thought we had done the right thing, but there were some gray areas, and if we would cut our employees back to 40 hours or pay overtime over 40, we would be okay, and they wouldn't do anything else. But they came back in 3 months later telling us we had to pay these people that were over 40 hours for the last 2 years. It's going to cost me about $60,000.
So $60,000 for a small business is a lot of money. You employ people, livelihoods that folks depend on. What does it mean to you to hear a presidential candidate say he wants to cut that red tape? He wants to help folks who are providing jobs. How much would that improve your ability to run a small business?
Oh, greatly improve it. I mean, most of the problems we have is regulations from the government, because you never know when they walk in there how much they might fine you for a little bit of nothing. And people are afraid of the government, and they shouldn't be. They ought to be there to help us. It's not the way it turns out most of the time. They just want to fine you for some reason.
Well, Ronald Reagan said some of the scariest words to hear are, "I'm here from the government, and I'm here to help." You're saying when they show up, usually they're looking for something wrong as opposed to finding a way to help you.
Yes. I mean, this thing is so ridiculous what they came up with on why I'm not a farmer anymore. See, we process milk, and if I can put chocolate powder and sugar in milk and make chocolate milk, and that's fine. But if I put sugar in ice cream, they say that's, doesn't exempt my employees from being farm employees anymore, and I have to pay them overtime. I mean, as soon as we cut our people back to 40 hours, some of those people had to go get part-time jobs, and they still don't make the kind of money they made working for me.
Listen, I don't mean to laugh, but if the government is determining whether you can put chocolate in ice cream or sugar in ice cream, and then telling you how long you can employ your employees as a result, something's gone wrong and government's gone wild. Randy Showers, thank you very much for joining us this morning and for fighting back. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Well, up next, Donald Trump facing yet another firestorm from the media as race becomes the #1 issue on the campaign trail.